Can you all hear me? Let's play, yeah, brilliant. Excellent job. That's good. Fantastic. Well, welcome to tonight's webinar. And we're going to be talking about accounts. I'm surprised at how many people I've actually got on here. I've got 11. I was expecting to be talking to myself. So it's brilliant to have you all on here. Anyway, so let's, is this being recorded? I hope so. I hope it's being recorded. So let's have a little look at accounts. So accounts, this is probably some of the most important lessons that you can learn in Clean and Easy. You know, accounts might not sound like much fun, okay, and perhaps it's not, but accounts are the lifeblood of your business, and you've got really two choices. The first is you need to get your accounts right because your business can then flourish. If you get it wrong, then your account or your business can come to a halt and it just wither away. But the thing to realize with accounting is that it's not complicated. All you need to do is follow some very simple rules that we're going to go over tonight. Now, there's two types of accounts that I want to cover. The first is your accounts within Clean Easy, and then the accounts that you need to keep for the tax man. Okay, that's quite a small picture. I don't know if we can increase the size of that. No. Right, I think everybody on the line tonight has probably had at least one invoice from the company, and this invoice is in green. It shows the product codes on the left hand side, then the description of the products that you've got, how many you've ordered, how many cleanings you're sending you, and so on. But the important figures are over here on this particular column here. And I know it's very difficult to actually see, but I believe that figure says that all those products came to £383, which is fair enough. The next figure underneath is somewhere around about £82. That's retail profit, and that is a very important figure because that is what you've actually earned from those products. So what the company do, they take away the amount that you've earned from the overall total to come up with a figure that you actually owe the company for all those products. Hopefully that makes sense. So retail profit is the money that you make from having ordered and delivered these products. I'm sure that everybody as well has had a credit note. Now these credit notes are always in red. Again, it's almost identical to the invoices, apart from over here. On this column again, it says that these two products came to £17, and they're going to give you a credit of £13.58. And you might say to yourself, well, why do I only get a credit of £13.58 when I placed an order for or a return goods worth £17? And the fact is, they're now taking off the retail profit that you had already taken out for having delivered those products. And a lot of people do tend to forget this. Yeah, when you're going through your accounts, you've got to remember to account for that £3.42 difference. You also get from the company a statement at the end of each week, and this is a list of all the transactions, the financial transactions that have gone on within your account. So in this example, you've got balance brought forward was 322.41. But then we've got the distributor service charge of £10 and a credit memo of £7.92 and so on. So that lists out all the transactions that we've had. And what I tend to do every single time I get an invoice, a credit note, a statement, I don't just keep it on the computer. I actually print them off, and I print them off in draft because it's cheaper on ink. But I've always then got a hard copy. And what I would do in this example, I would then start to tick off all the transactions that I've had. So I would find the credit memo, tick off that I've got that one, tick off that I've got the order for 243.09. So every week, all your transactions should be matched up. Okay, there shouldn't be any discrepancies. If there are, you can go straight back to Cleaneasy and say, you know, what the discrepancy is. But in all the time that I've been in this business, I think I've only had sort of 1 or 2 discrepancies. So they can happen, but it's very, very, very rare. Remember, I've been in it over 16 years, and I've had about 2 discrepancies in all that time. So, but it is worth keeping an eye on it. Now, I remember when I first started in the business, I used to go to people like Craig and Caroline and say, look, I don't seem to have earned very much this month. I can't seem to find out where the money's gone. And that was exactly right. I didn't know where I had spent the money because we'd obviously earned the money, but I didn't know where it had gone. And when we sat down and started to analyze it, we noticed that we'd frittered some of the money away. So, for example, when we were out doing our deliveries, we'd think, oh, petrol's a little bit low. We better go in and get a tenner's worth. So we bought a tenner's worth of petrol. Now, whilst you're there, you buy some chocolate, you buy some sweets, you buy some drinks. Then on the way home, after you've finished everything, you think, oh, that's a good job. I'll just pop in the Chinese and get Chinese on the way home. And you come home and you tally up all the money, and then you think, well, it just doesn't add up. Totally forgetting that I've just bought petrol, I've just bought the sweets, I've just bought the chocolates and so on. So I think the thing to realise is that don't spend what you haven't got. Yeah. The other reason that we found that sometimes the money didn't tally up to what we should have was that we still had products left at home waiting to be delivered. You know, there was a £25 order and a £5 order and an £8 order in the corner there waiting to be delivered, which I hadn't taken into account. Perhaps you might have returns that you still need to return back to the company, but you haven't done it yet. Now that's money that is just sat there. As soon as you put it back onto the system, that'll get credited to your account, so you owe the company less money. Yeah. So always look at where your money might be. So once you've placed your orders, you've got the goods, you've delivered all the goods, how do you actually pay the money back to Cleaneasy? And remember, you only need to pay the amount that the company tell you. That's the value of the products minus your retail commission, leaves you with the final balance. So how do you pay that money back? Well, there's a couple of ways. The first way is through gyro slips. Now, we still use gyro slips. They do need to be ordered direct from Cleaneasy, and you can see them on the ordering site. They are free of charge, and what happens is they send you these gyro slips, and you go to the local NatWest bank with your checks and cash and pay it over at the counter. The other thing I would also say is if you've got somebody brand new in the business, get them to order those gyro slips immediately that they've signed up, because they do sometimes take between 7 to 10 days to come through. The second way that you can pay Cleaneasy is that once you've collected all the money in from your deliveries, you then pay that money into your own bank account, and then you can pay Cleaneasy via direct debit, which is free, or you can pay it on a credit card. And unfortunately, with a credit card, I think they charge you about 1.5% interest. Now, obviously, that interest can be offset against any expenses that you've got in the business. But I would tend to say just pay it by direct debit if at all possible. If you're only selling online, Cleaneasy will send you a check at the end of the month for the money that you've made. But most people, I think nearly everybody on this webinar this evening, do catalogs and online selling. You're doing a bit of both, which is by far the best way of building your Clean Easy business. So if you've got a customer that, for example, pays you by PayPal, I would highly recommend, if you're new in this business, you speak to your sponsor or you speak to Clean Easy to account for that when you're making payments back to the company. But so many people have in the past let their account go under because they use it short-term to finance their lifestyle. I mean, we certainly did that early days. We were using some of the money that we were getting from Clean Easy to buy the petrol, the sweets, the Chinese and everything else. But some people go further than that because they've not had large amounts of money, maybe £300 or £400 that you've collected in on a Thursday night. On the Saturday, you might think, well, let's go for a trip. Let's do this. Let's do that. And you start to dip into that £300 or £400, which the vast majority of that is going to be Clean Easy's money. And the trouble is, the people do believe that they'll pay that money back, but they get into this downward spiral, getting further and further into debt month after month. But that will not happen if you pay what Clean Easy is owed first of all, and then take the rest of it. Yeah. Otherwise, at best, you're borrowing the money from Clean Easy, but if you don't pay it back, you're effectively stealing from Clean Easy, and nobody at all wants to be in that position. So pay Clean Easy first, and you won't get into any problems in terms of your account. Now, you are self-employed, you're obviously your own boss, and you are in charge of your own Clean Easy account. So for that reason, and that reason alone, don't let anybody else have access to your Clean Easy account. Yeah, and don't have access to anybody else's account. It's against company policy, and it can, in certain circumstances, lead to lots of problems. So if you're responsible for the state of your account, if you tend to look after it, it will look after you. I mean, at the end of the day, the company give you 2 weeks to deliver the goods and then pay the money back to Clean Easy before they want it back. So they are trusting you. They're putting a lot of trust in you before they actually want their money back. But if you do miss payments, then you've got a very good chance of going on to stop. Now, what that means is that if you go on stop with the company, it means you can't operate, which means that you can't earn an income until you've cleared that old debt. Now, that old debt might mean that you only owe £1 or £2. It might mean that you earn £50. It may mean you earn you have to pay back £100. Whatever the figure is, until you've cleared that old debt, you can't carry on operating within this business. And if you're on stop, then they're not going to give you a credit increase for quite some time. They will also stop your bonus check, and nobody wants to get into that position, and Clean Easy don't want to get into that position. But if you're not paying the money back that they're owed, then they're well within their right to do that. If for whatever reason you get to this position, you really do need to speak to your sponsor, or you need to speak to Clean Easy to get the problem sorted. Okay. Now, I know this won't apply to anybody, but I'm just going to go through the stages that Clean Easy go through to get their money back. So for the first 2 weeks after placing the order, you've got that, and you should be able to do all your deliveries, get the money paid into Clean Easy, no problems at all. Yeah, we've never had a problem in terms of paying Clean Easy back within that 2 week period. But 2 weeks later, still haven't paid any money in, they're going to send you a letter saying, look, you owe us this money, can you sort something out? If after 3 weeks you still not paid any money back, they're going to send you a second letter, charge you £7.50 for the pleasure of it. And this then starts to get you going down the road further into debt. Weeks 4, you get another letter, £7.50. Nobody wants to get to this position. So it's vital that you keep your account up together. After 7 weeks, if you still haven't paid anything, for me, think why people wouldn't pay this money back. They're going to send you another letter, another £7.50. And after the ninth week, in other words, 12 weeks from the date that you first placed the order, they're going to pass out to the debt collection agency. And, you know, with all justification as well, because, you know, you're holding on to their money. So that's the process that they go through. That's only for just so that you know the process that they go through. I know none of you on this will get into that situation, but you need to know of it because people in your team might get there. If you're going on holiday, it's always a good idea to make sure that your Clean Easy account is up to date, that everything is paid up to date, because you don't want to go on stop just because you've missed, you know, the date to pay all your money in. Yeah. At the end of each period, you really need to make sure that you've got enough credit to allow next order to go through, because there's nothing worse than aiming for a percentage level. Let's say you're going for 21% and you've got £500 to place, all right, and that'll take you well over the 21% level. But unfortunately, unknown to you, you've only actually got, let's say, £350 worth of credit, and that's not enough to allow that order to go through, which means you'll then miss that 21% and you'll only get 18% bonus level. So always make sure at the end of the month that you're well on top of how much money you've got in your account, whether you've got enough to place that order, and so on. You also need to make sure that you're checking on your team's figures at the end of the month, because what you want to do is make sure that your team hit their percentage levels. You know, if they're £50 short, 10%, get in contact with them and tell them to place another order, because it's going to mean more money in their pocket. And if you're not sure, then have a chat with your sponsor. They'll be able to help you and guide you, certainly early days, on, you know, how to sort of cover that. And then what happens is at the end of each period, Thursday, your bonuses are paid to you via BACS. And Clean Easy will send you a certificate of income and a check. Now, that check isn't cashable. It's just showing you what you've earned that month. And as I say, that money will then be paid by BACS into your bank account. So that is really the Clean Easy account side of things. The next one, and probably the bigger one, is the tax man. The tax man, oh dear. The first thing to realize is don't panic. They can be very, very helpful. If you've got any questions, they're going to help you as much as they possibly can, because, you know, they want to get you into the system. And if you owe tax, fine, you pay it. If you don't owe tax, then you don't. And what I'm going to give you here is just a bit of general advice. I'm certainly no expert on this, and you will need to look into this from your own perspective, from your own circumstances. But I'll give you a bit of guidance and maybe make you think about a few things tonight. So the first thing is, certainly when you're first starting in Clean Easy, you'll probably be on a lowish income, unless you do thousands upon thousands of catalogs. So if you're on a lowish income, 16 hours a week, and you've got some kids, then apply for some tax credits. If you work 35 hours or more and you haven't got any kids, again, apply for some tax credits. And the best way of doing that is go onto the tax credit calculator. Just go onto Google, type in tax credit calculator details, and see if you might be eligible. Yeah. You do also need to register as self-employed with HMRC, and all you need to do is fill in the form that is required. And it's a lot simpler now than it has been, because what HMRC do, they combine your tax and national insurance together. They're not two separate issues. They've now combined them together. So I'll just give you an example. If you've joined since April 2015, you will need to register by October 2016. Now, I would highly recommend that if you have joined since 2015, that you register as soon as possible, all right? Because it does take a few weeks for them to get all the paperwork processed and so on. You don't want to leave it until October because you're leaving it a little bit too tight. So register as soon as you possibly can. And even if you register now, if you owe the taxman any money, you won't be paying anything till at least January 2017. All right. But as it says there, it does take a few weeks to get into the system. So get yourself into the system and then they'll write to you about the next steps. The year end is April the 5th. And you can do your tax returns online yourself if you want to. You do need to be registered as self-employed, as I say. Or you can give all your accounts to an accountant. And really, when you're dealing with accounts, you want some good advice. There's a company called DSL, which I know deal with a lot of network marketing companies. So that's one company that you can go to. You could find a local accountant. We use somebody called Jackie King in and around the Bristol area. But if you're further afield, I'm sure you've got some very good accountants near you. All right. So how do we keep our accounts for the taxman? Well, it is very, very simple, and it's almost a foolproof system. Basically, we use a folder or snappy bag. So every 4 weeks, we get I'll use a snappy bag for example. We get a new snappy bag, and by the end of the year, we end up with 13 snappy bags. Now, in each of those snappy bags, we put all our Clean Easy statements, our invoices, our credit notes. As I said earlier, they're all emailed to you, but I print them off. As I said as well, I print them off in draft. You then keep all those in one snappy bag. The following month, you do the same again. The following month, you do the same again. If you order by post, and I can't imagine that anybody on this tonight does order by post, Clean Easy will actually send you a copy of your statements and invoices within 7 to 10 days. So it's a bit more long-winded, but you know, most of us, I think, are getting emails direct from the company. So you then just match up all the invoices and credit notes to your statements each and every week, put them in the snappy bags, and you also want to claim for as much as you possibly can. Yeah, you want to keep receipts for everything that you use within the business. That could be petrol, catalogues, photocopies that you have. In fact, and I'll put this on Facebook once we've finished, okay? Here's a list of just some of the things that you could claim for. For example, if you need a new coat because it's raining out there, yeah, keep the receipt, put it into that month's snappy bag. If you need shoes for delivering the catalogues, or you need new shoes for a meeting, keep the receipt, put it in the snappy bag. And the same goes for everything. You've got the miscellaneous things there. You've got all the stationery. So if you buy pens or paper clips or diary, whatever it is, keep receipts. Your car, as long as you've got an advert on the back of the car, you claim for the servicing of your car tax, or any parking fees that you've got, your petrol, RAC or AA cover, your insurance on the car. So again, when you pay for all these things, keep the receipt, put it in the snappy bag for that particular. Same with your telephone, your home phone, your mobile phone, your broadband. I don't think I've even put that on there, but you know, anything that you use that you within this business, keep a receipt for and put it in the bag. Because if you haven't got a receipt, you can't claim for it. If you've got a receipt, you can claim for it. The accountant think it should be there, then they'll take it back out. But put as much as you possibly can in, okay? At the end of each month, once you've put in all your receipts and you've put in all your invoices and statements, what I would suggest is you print one of these front sheets off. And basically you've got income. So at the end of the month, you get your certificate of income from the company, so it tells you exactly what you've earned, so that's very easy to fill out. Got your expenditure, so you then get all your petrol receipts, add them all up, mark it down under petrol. How many retail kits have you bought that month? You write it down on there. So you add up all the items of expenditure. All right. Well, let me just go back, sorry. And what happens is at the end of the month, you've got your income. So let's say you've earned, I don't know, £1,000 this month, and you've got £500 worth of expenditure. You've actually made a net profit of £500, and that is what you would be sort of taxed on. In fact, there's probably an example on the next page. So Clean Easy is very, as it says there. If you've earned, I don't know, £15,000 this year, and you spend £4,000 on various bits and pieces, all the things that I've listed out earlier on, you'll only pay tax on £1,000 minus the £4,000 worth of products that you've used to build this business. So that means you've only made a net profit of 11,000. Now everybody has got approximately £10,500 worth of personal allowance before they pay tax. So for a couple, that's nearly 21,000. So when you take that 10,500 away from the 11,000 that you've earned, you would probably have to pay tax on the £500 difference. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, that's not perfect, but it gives you an idea of how it works. And what you'll find is that the money that you start to put into this business, you know, buying leads, buying catalogs, will pay dividends in the long run. It's like the farmer who brings in the corn from the fields. He doesn't sell all of the corn, he plants it for next year. It's like us. You know, we earn this money, but we don't want to spend all that money. We want to reinvest some of it towards building the business bigger and better over the coming years. Yeah. So don't look at your outgoings as a cost. Look at it as an investment into your future. Okay. That's given you some ideas on how to keep your accounts. If you want further information, either speak to your sponsor or come back to us, and I'll be more than happy to talk you through it. I will put the documents up on Facebook in the next sort of half an hour or so. Okay, and I hope that helps. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next webinar next Monday. Take care. Bye bye.